left no stone unturned, and there's still work to be done. But as far as the surveillance, and that's a broad-based term, we did have an idea on where he was on a regular basis. I think the detectives were very astute in putting certain limitations if he tried to leave the area. So there was not a case of that we just did our work and we were going to take a chance. The decision today was that in looking at the totality of the evidence that has been collected, both DNA, which without a doubt puts that victim on the hood of that car. We felt comfortable and strong enough in our evidence that we were able to A, make the arrest, and B, proceed to the state attorney's office for prosecution.
And in your conversations with counsel, or in the detective's conversations with counsel, was there a denial?
I don't believe there was any statements made at all that I'm aware of. And the briefing I received this morning was that he invoked his rights, and therefore we did not ask any questions.
What do we know about the victim?
He did have an efficiency in the area. He wasn't. He was. I believe we believe he was using that bike for transportation to get back. We contacted, or we have been contacted by a young lady who's identified herself as his girlfriend. As far as anything else, I mean, he was just a guy. What's the approximate age we have on? 42 years old. We had no real business relation where we knew where he was coming from work at that time of day or night. But again, regardless of who he was, we had to write the final chapter of this man's life, and it's not something that we ever want to do, but we're going to do it thoroughly. And again, it's the coexistence of bicyclists, pedestrians, and cars on our streets. It happens way too often. And it's something that every police department and all of my colleagues as chiefs have to deal with. I mean, people need to stop and render aid. I can't sit here today and tell you that if he would have stopped and called us right away, even with one of our alert officers, this man may still be alive, depending on what the injuries were. And I can only speculate to that.
Do we know where the driver was coming from? What he was doing before?
We have pinpointed, or we haven't pinpointed, but we generalized where he was driving through some of the evidence that we've obtained through a warrant, but we don't have it pinned down. And there is still some work to do. There is no DUI assertions on behalf of the police department because there's just no evidence that we see at that time where it was done, and we do not have any other independent testimony that had him drinking or that alcohol was involved.
Is there any indication that someone helped him hide the car? Is anyone else involved in that?
No, at this point, in the investigation, we are not looking at anybody else as far as assisting him. The only eyewitness account was him actually taking the bike from underneath the car. As far as the family is concerned, as far as whether the house was, there was no witnesses to how the car got to the back of the house. It was just how the detectives saw it from the street, and were able to obtain a warrant from the judge.
Chief, is the supposition that he had the accident, dislodged